Disappointed!
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here once again with my co-host Liam McNeil. And Liam, I can tell you the Newcastle gods are angry because it's raining down upon us.
It's coming down on the colorbond, isn't it, Nagy? But not enough to dampen our spirits, which
No.
Brisbane tried.
They tried
the
their
Bureau
best.
of Meteorology tried.
Yeah.
Bureau of Meteorology tried,
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah.
But it ain't happening, just as our spirits aren't dampened because of Origin.
We can't be stopped because of Origin. Now, Liam, State of Origin is separated into 3 games. I always think the first game's basically a practice.
It's just to run around in the park with the boys,
Yeah.
you know, smack the bums, have a bit of a run.
Yeah.
Just don't even
Just
really,
warm up.
you haven't got to try it. You really don't try. And I think it's safe to say New South Wales didn't really try.
No.
Game one, and why would you?
They
'Cause
were
you get
una-
another one.
They were unaware. They thought it was just the warm-up to Wimbledon where they just hit the balls back towards each other. No one knew that was keeping score.
I thought it was totem tennis.
I just thought it was just
I
a...
always like to imagine that Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic just out there swinging the ball around the stick.
having a bit of a play.
Yeah, having a bit of a play, a bit of a muck around. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's a real thing, game one.
Oh, they've recorded the score, and we came up with less points. Now, that's a shock to you. That's a shock to me. It's a shock to everyone in New South Wales.
It was a shock to the people of the Orange X Services Club, that's for sure.
That's right. It certainly was.
But Brad Fittler's done what Brad Fittler does very well, Nagy. He's rung in a host of changes, 5 changes, I believe.
Of course.
If my mathematics are correct.
Yep.
And I'll need you to confirm that, Nagy. It is 5.
5 there or thereabouts.
Yeah, there or thereabouts. But the big one, I think, is he's right there. He's front and center on that beautiful graphic that we're looking at now.
Latrell Mitchell.
Latrell
Mitchell.
Mitchell's back.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful news to have Latrell back?
You put up Mitchell Moses too early, didn't you?
Yeah.
We'll keep riding with it. No one at home saw that. It was Mitchell Moses. Well, Latrell Mitchell is back. Look at the grin on his face.
Oh, the man's happiest when he's in sky blue, and in sky blue he'll be for game 2.
Yeah, and of course, because they threw away the dark blue jerseys.
They did.
That's why, again, I thought it was all practice.
Yep, that's it.
It wasn't the real
It's
game.
nothing but a training singlet they were wearing, in fact.
There is not a judge in the land that would have said that game was real because we weren't wearing the sky blue. But we got Mitchell Moses, everyone's favourite silver medal.
This is a very interesting one, Nagy, because obviously with Nico coming into the team at the start of the year, being
Yeah.
18th man the year before, it seemed like Nico was the anointed one. He's
Yeah.
the next man, the
Well,
next one.
For me, Liam, the question really is, and I did a little bit of spit there, and that's what the benefits you get if you watch this show rather than just listen to it audio. All you people listening on your car radios wouldn't have seen a little bit of spit fly out of my mouth. But it was Mitchell Moses, right, and Nico Hines. Yeah, Nico Hines is quite a likeable fella. I think everyone, you know, they've only met him recently, and they say, you know what, not a bad guy.
Mitchell Moses, on the other hand,
Mitchell Moses,
Real
on the other
dick
hand,
of a bloke.
He's hard to like. He's
very
very,
hard to
very
like.
difficult to enjoy.
throws his arms up and a lot. He swears at his teammates. He's always good to hear, actually, on the games whenever he's nearby to the ref.
Yeah.
Because I love hearing rugby league players swear loudly on live television.
F's and C's
Oh,
and you.
and he's used those two in the same sense
Yeah.
a couple of times that I've heard.
I tell you what I swear what I always love. Horse shit. When he calls something and he say that is absolute horse shit. It
It's
really
so
has some
vile. It has a punch to it. It has a kick to it.
I wonder if he could be sent in or sent off if a ref made a call and he said, "Ref, that's absolute horse shit."
Well, what did Dane Gagai say? Remember when
said
he got
something-
in a bit of trouble with the ref because he dropped a hard F?
Hard F. you
Not the
see,
hardest
yeah.
F, but
No.
one of the Fs we don't like.
I think he said that's fucking ridiculous or something like that.
yeah.
But no. He goes straight into the horse shit. You need to get agricultural with your swear words. That's what I like. That's what I like, Liam. But we got Latrell Mitchell there, and also Damien Cook comes back in the side. Now that was a bit of everyone is sort of expecting him and Appy to work together as they've done once before, and then Appy was chosen over him, and then now he's back.
Maybe the universe has righted itself. Maybe that big elbow from Tino into Appy's jaw was a sign from the universe saying, Freddie, you got that one wrong,
Oh,
mate.
yeah.
Maybe Tino was doing us a bit of a favour.
I don't know about that, but it was
Freddie, you biffed it, buddy. Here, let me fix it for you. I'll fix it.
the elbow of God.
Oh, we know Tino's a good boy born in Orange, so maybe
course.
he's been a New South Wales sleeper agent this whole time.
God, I hope so for game 2. Now, Liam, there's also some more surprises.
Now, these are genuine surprises.
Yeah.
You crack the chocolate egg.
Yeah.
You open up the little plastic thing inside of it. Who pops out? Stefano Utoikamanu and Reece Robson.
Yeah, we can't say Kinder for licensing purposes, but it was Reece Robson, and I've been calling him Robinson.
No, you've been calling him Chris Keating.
I knew it was just alliteration. That's all I had. My mind works very, very simply. But then also this the fellow Stefano. I know nothing about this man.
Now, Stefano, very good player. He's a Tigers prop forward, plays in the middle. He was 18th man last year, I believe, or he was around the 18, 19, 20 jerseys last year, and I think the year before. So Stefano's been in camp.
He's been in camp.
He knows what happens in camp. He knows game one's a muck around. So he's not upset. He didn't say, Freddie, why didn't you pick me game one? He said, oh, mate, you had your training run, Freddie.
Yeah.
You weeded out a bit of the nonsense.
Of course.
You got rid of it.
Yeah.
Now game two is the real one, Freddie, and you came to me and I'm very happy about it. Let me repay your faith.
Does camp actually involve any camping? That'd be a good question.
I remember
Any tents?
we were in discussions many years ago interviewing one of the great Queensland players, and we won't name names for the sake of brevity, but I believe it was maybe 1995 Origin camp. They all turned up. First meeting, Paul Vorton understands Origin. He gets Origin. He said to the boys, he said, if I see any of you boys back at the hotel before 3 in the morning, you're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah.
He said, go out, boys.
Enjoy yourselves.
Enjoy, get on the drink. Have a great time.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, 3-0.
3-0.
A whitewashing. A whitewashing. So I believe it's like a camp, but not like a boot camp.
No, but you stay up late.
Yeah, like a boys' camp.
Stay up late drinking.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what camping's all involved. And then, of course, Reece Robinson there. But then we've lost two. When their player comes in, we must lose two. And these two fade into the distance in front of us all.
The dropped boys. Do they become the Jamie Burers, the Dylan Walkers of the Origin world?
Yeah, the forgotten souls.
The very forgotten souls. You'd think Nico's not a forgotten soul. He's still got a lot of football in him.
You'd
He's
think
still
so.
got a lot of time ahead of him.
You-
TPJ, on the other hand,
Maybe
been
not.
around for a while. Got his shot. Didn't impress. And now he's been dropped like a hot pie.
And he didn't impress
One of the worst things you could do to a hot pie.
It's drop it.
Drop it on the
goes
ground.
everywhere.
Because you don't get to eat it again. 'Cause
spills.
usually, if you drop regular food, you can just pick it up and eat it again. But a pie, because
it's
it's
gone.
liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all leaks out.
Although one time I dropped a McDonald's soft serve. I was only about 10, and I believe it was bought for me by a friend's mother. And the friend was there as well. I wasn't just out with the friend's mother. But it was... And then I dropped it, and I was embarrassed the fact that I've dropped this. I believe they only cost 30 cents at the time. They might have bumped up to 35.
Not in this economy, though.
Not this economy. No, they're up to probably $1.50, you reckon?
Could take out a bloody mortgage if you consider getting a flake.
And I panicked, but I had the serviette. I had the serviette still in my hand, betwixt my fingers, Liam. And what I decided to do was just wipe off the gravel and pretend like nothing had happened.
That's the worst food to pick up off the ground and eat again, Nagy.
I was panicked in the car, let me tell you that.
No wonder you're so sickly.
I can't eat ice cream ever again. Or whatever the hell they're serving in those cones. Brad Fittler's not just a coach, Liam, he's a specialist.
At game two specifically. Now, if you look back, Joust, we've got the stats about to pop up here on the screen. 2019.
Yeah.
18-14.
Perfect.
New South Wales over Queensland.
Yeah.
No, I can't count. 2019's the top one, Nagy?
18, yeah.
18.
Yeah.
New South Wales win 18-14. 2019,
Not so good.
38 to
38
6. What a
yeah,
handsome
yeah.
scoreline. 34 to 10.
Yeah.
26 to nothing.
Nil.
44 to 12. How can you look at those results and say that Brad Fittler's not a great game two coach?
Yeah. Fantastic game too, coach.
Yeah.
Really, this is where he thinks this is where it kicks off.
This is the real one.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
isn't the training run anymore.
No.
Yeah.
This is where it all of his madness, everything's just been led into this trap.
Yeah, and just a quick thing on Brad Fittler's madness, just before we move into discussing Queensland. There's a lot of talk around the place, Nagy. I've been hearing a lot of commenters.
Whispers, gossips.
Innuendo, libel, slander.
Plans, schemes, lies, yeah.
All the bad things you can do to a person. That Brad Fittler may be at the end of his tenure if he loses this series. Now, Nagy, we were talking about this before the Joust. How many series has he coached and won?
6.
This is 6.
So this is 6 he's coached,
And
and
he's
he's won 3.
And lost 2.
2.
I believe now, what you guys don't know is that Nagy's actually an Australian Sign Language interpreter. So what you've just learned about is the actual signs for how to judge Origin games.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you look at that record,
Yeah.
so much of Origin has been ruined by the Queensland dynasty.
Yeah.
Brad Fittler's won 3 series and lost 2.
Yeah.
That's a really good strike rate.
If he
for a
loses
Blues
this one,
coach.
3-3.
But even 50-50 is pretty good as a Blues coach,
I think
given
so.
the way that it's been so bad had in the past. But because of the 8 in a row and the 9 out of 10, if you don't win 4 series on the trot, all of a sudden, bam, you're out like yesterday's fish and chips.
We're looking for our next Mal Meninga.
Yeah.
Basically, is what we're looking for. And if we don't get that, we're looking for the next, even though the next best, now that you have to be an Origin coach, you can't coach an NRL side. So you have to, who are we looking for? Jeff Tuvey?
I think he'd be wonderful at it, actually. That's a very good suggestion.
He is
Maggie.
actually an accountant, apparently.
And a crazy, crazy accountant. He's an insane man. Insane man. So anyway, I just think that's an interesting bit of discourse, is that we're looking at firing Fittler because even if he loses, he'll still have a 50-50 win rate, which is not much worse than Philip Ronald Gould, arguably the best New South Wales coach of all time.
And if you want your balance sheet done with a bit of flair, go after Tubes.
Go see Tubes. Go see Tubes. But we got to talk Queensland. We don't want to.
No.
We don't enjoy talking about this nonsense, this
favourites.
rubbish.
Queensland the favourites.
Which doesn't fit into their usual underdog status.
I hate every minute of it.
Yeah.
No.
And I think that was intentional by Brad Fittler. You know, he messaged Nathan Cleary a couple of days before the Penrith game, I think it was. And he said, Nathan, we need you to get hurt. Queensland have been doing this underdog thing for centuries. Now we need it for New South Wales.
Yeah.
We need you to go down. Then he messaged Cody Walker and he said, Cody, we need you to get hurt. Go down. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself out of the game. And
they did it. They did it to the T.
Queensland are the favourites. Now, Queensland have named a few changes as well. Xavier Coates is an interesting one coming onto the wing.
Yeah.
Not sure about that one. Xavier Coates is a man who looks like he'd be good at a lot of stuff, but isn't. He keeps being referred to as this aerial specialist. But if you watch him when he actually, because he's a tall man.
Can't jump.
Looks like a high jumper.
Yeah.
No, he can jump.
Yeah.
He just can't catch when he jumps.
Because it's the two-part. You need to jump and then also catch and, then put the ball down. 3 parts.
Or pass the ball.
But
he's only good at the first part of it.
Yeah.
And so that's not really a great, indicator for a man being in a team. And I thought, on the back of a headwear-related incident in the game, the Knights game, Dane Gago could have been up for a recall on the wing there.
Could have been up there.
Yeah. Also, Corey Oates in that game could have been up there for a recall. So I, as a New South Wales fan, don't mind the Xavier Coates selection. Because he's probably the 7th best they could have picked of the available ones. Who else have they got in there? They've got same. Jeremiah Nanai returns.
Of course.
He's a very good player, Jeremiah Nanai.
Sometimes.
Now, the knock on Jeremiah Nanai is that he doesn't do a lot of hard work. He just scores tries all the time.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's really good.
Yeah.
I would much rather have a player who scores a lot of tries than just gets in their run meters, gets there, builds the platform. No, scoring tries is better.
You want the bits and the bobs. You want all of it together. The bobs being the try scorer.
But if you can't have the bits and the bobs, just get the one that's more important, which is putting points on the board, scoring tries, adding to the game 4 points at a time.
Yeah.
The bobs. Now, who else was in there? I don't
know. Look, I haven't looked at the side too.
Forget about it.
All I know is it's
Mo Fodawaker's in. He's a good one.
All I know it's a very good side.
It is a very good side.
And if New South Wales happens to win this with their ragtag team of shitbirds that they have put together, it will be the greatest sporting achievement in Australian sporting history.
The disrespect on Stephen Bradbury's name. How dare you say that anyone could knock Stephen Bradbury off top spot there?
He's had his... Well, this will be the Bradbury moment for New South Wales. We're going there in Queensland, in the cauldron, they call it, Liam. The cauldron.
They do.
Because
they're all witches up there.
Because they say also the cauldron because of the way the stadium is built, but I think maybe they built it too steep. It should be like a cauldron. It should be more spread out.
Now, I watched a hockey game in the NHL. It was a Montreal hockey game.
Yeah.
And it was very cauldron-like. And we had the nosebleeds. And it felt like you were going to fall down. It was so steep.
Of course.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
We also got there the prediction for Origin, which we've got
big old kick in the nuts.
The kick in the nuts, which is wonderful there. The cockroach kicking the nuts.
And score prediction, Nagy?
Well, it can't be a good game of Origin without a 1-1 series going into Game 3, so I think we have to take it out.
And given Brad Fittler's track record in Game 2s, I'm going to go 26 New South Wales to Queensland 14.
I think 24 New South Wales to 20 Queensland.
Oh, that's two good-looking score lines.
Ooh,
that's two sexy score lines.
End of your seat,
and
also
now,
the edge of your seat.
But where are we going to watch it, Nagy? If we have to, consider the best atmosphere, the best place to watch it, the best drink prices, the best food prices.
Yeah.
Where's that going to be?
It'd be the heart of Newcastle, the Hamilton Station Hotel.
A wonderful, wonderful venue, Nagy. $10 jugs of new, $10 jugs of old, $1 chicken wings.
Wings, you can't beat it.
We're going to drive them broke. The balance sheet after Origin 2 with us there is not going to look pretty. We're sorry, Tristan and the crew at the Hamo Station.
A wonderful, wonderful crew at Hamilton Station. Liam, there's lots happening outside of Origin, which brings us into the time for the news. like a speaker went underwater. That's where
We have
we're
just
at.
been rained on heavily, so that might be the case. But thank you, Bureau of Meteorology, for closing the rain just as we discuss an interesting development in the Adam O'Brien story. The Adam
Yeah.
O'Brien story, been at the Knights for 4 or 5 years now.
Of course. Yeah,
Physically, his appearance hasn't changed much.
not much.
Cosmetically, aesthetically, he's remained roughly the same until this week,
A
Nagy.
few more greys in the hair,
Couple
possibly.
more grays, but that's to be expected when you're coaching an NRL club. Now, that's a pretty clean-looking forearm.
Clean arm. It's clean arm.
It's got a bit of hair on it.
We'll zoom
but,
in using the technology.
He's a very vascular fella, but that looks like a pretty clean slate of a forearm there, Nagy. But I don't know if you caught this during the game, but
didn't.
something happened to pop up, and I think we got vision of it here.
Can anyone tell us what is on his arm?
Now, we like to speculate wildly here at the Joust.
Of course,
We like to
speculation. We don't know. We haven't been told the information, so
No.
we can only speculate on what
Yeah.
we've been shown.
Yeah, and I like to think, and we obviously showed that a quick nip off to Bali is a great way to succeed, especially if you're
Fantastic,
going to get a tattoo and build a house for a impoverished Balinese family. So, do you think maybe Adam O'Brien saw that? That worked for Bradman.
Yep.
And he said, I'm going to go over. I'm going to get a bit of a tough sticker.
Well,
I'm going to help build a shopping centre in Ubud.
Yeah.
And then he's come back, and the Knights almost won one of the most exciting games I've ever watched.
He saw Bradman Best's leg pant. It's not a sleeve; it's a pant. Remember, covering the entire leg. And so he thought maybe I'm going to dip my arm into this
Man,
this sort of
pants
scene.
really are just sleeves for your legs.
Liam, you've got a lot of terrible tattoos. What can you tell us about this terrible tattoo?
Well, not much. It looks like a large blob, which is nice.
Keep your eye out.
And that's about it.
From what we can see, again, speculate. From what we can see, he's potentially lent in some newspaper, or from that angle, and that angle only is the only angle that we can go off here. It sort of looks like a cat.
Oh, well, I've heard cat, I've heard wolf. I thought in my head maybe a bear. perhaps.
Potentially.
We think it's an animal.
Yeah.
Jousters. We think it's an animal. But we'd love to hear your thoughts, in fact. We might put up a bit of a poll to see what Jousters think. Either way, if Adam's happy with it, I'm happy with it.
If he's happy, I'm happy,
Yep.
and that's a decision that he's made, and
Yep.
I'm sure it was a lovely tattoo for the right reasons. Now,
Yes,
Liam.
for the right reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like a spite tattoo or like a hatred tattoo.
Yeah, potentially. Never get a tattoo for spite. That's
No.
what I've always said. I've said
Doing
that
other things
years.
for spite, fantastic. I
Yeah.
love doing things out of spite.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
brilliant. But
So-
not a tattoo.
It gives you wonderful energy, spite. I tell you that. It gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Keeps me going through the day. Speaking of spite, now, one of the least spiteful relationships in rugby league has been the relationship between Luke Brooks and the West Tigers, which is
course.
so odd given the history of mediocrity that has been the theme of Luke Brooks' tenure at the Tigers. I would argue through not a great amount of fault of his own.
Much maligned player.
Very much maligned.
as-
Arguably the most if you were,
Yeah.
a member of the NRL media.
Yeah,
If you were one
yeah.
of Rupert's or Kerry Packer's shills.
Yeah.
If, according to them, he's the worst player in the history of the game and has
Apparently
torn
so.
the Tigers club apart.
Yeah.
But he's leaving.
He's leaving.
Thereby tearing the Tigers club apart, Nagy. Is this a spite move by Luke Brooks, do you think?
Well, I think it's giving the Tigers fans everything that they've been asking for years, but you don't. What's the expression? You don't want to get what you ask for? That doesn't sound right.
It should be an
Be
expression.
careful
it's a great,
what you wish for is what.
the first one sounds terrible, Nagy. I do want the things that I want. If I want a thing and I get it, I'm very happy. It makes my heart warm.
If the expression was "don't always get the things you ask for," all the Santas across the shopping centres
That'd be
during
out of-
Christmas
that'd be out of
time,
work.
they would have nothing to do.
Be out of work.
Where's he going, Liam?
Well, now the hot word from our dear friend there, Philip Rothfield, is that maybe he might end up way up north
Way
in
up.
the Balmain of far north Queensland. Mackay, I guess.
the
Where
he-
are the Cowboys based? Is it Mackay?
Townsville.
Townsville.
Which, remember, if we all remember correctly, town meaning town and Sville
Ville
meaning
meaning
town. Town's town. So
I never considered it like that.
yeah,
mate. It's very good.
that's what they've done.
It's like I always think when you look at Newtown,
Yeah.
I think there was some poor city planner
Yep.
who'd had a massive 3-day bender. He was really
it.
hungover.
Yeah.
Someone come in and they go, "Oh, we got this new town we just built.
Yeah.
What do you want to call it?" And he goes, "Just call it that. Call it that thing." "What do you mean? If we've built a new town." "Yeah.
Just put it on
Call
the
it,
sheet.
call it that. Bring me a glass bottle of Coca-Cola and bugger off."
Yeah.
And so I think
and
maybe
a Powerade, you said back then.
Oh yes, yeah. And I think it may have been the same town planner who came up with Townstown.
Townstown.
But the irony
Yep.
irony is that
You put the accent on the wrong end of the word. That's
I did,
all right.
yeah. I do that from time to time. Just keep things bright. But the irony of this all is that the player he is replacing,
Of course.
maybe Town's own Townsend. Whoa.
Of course. The
Try
town. The
saying
end
that
of
quickly.
The end of the Townstown.
Yeah.
And how old is Chris Townsend? Is it
Chad Townsend.
Chad Townsend and his brother Chris?
It's twins. 34 maybe.
I've had such a
33.
terrible run with names over the last 6 years.
You've had a rough day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a long day. He had a long day.
I had a long
Joust.
day, guys. It's so he thought he's on the way out, and then they've decided to bring Luke Brooks, the hot young favourite halfback,
To finally be unleashed. Every year,
Unleashed.
that's the narrative at the start of the year. They're ready to unleash Luke Brooks. They've been saying it since his debut. And remember, we worked out, the other week.
Yeah.
We said it would have been so easy for Luke Brooks between his first game and his 200th if he had just been good.
Yeah, that's all he had
It's
to
not
do.
that hard.
Not
To
hard.
just be good at rugby league.
Now, Liam, it wouldn't be the news without talking about one of our very own Newcastle Knights, ex-Newcastle Knights,
Oh, yeah.
flying in on that big old jet plane back to Australia, but he's flying over Newcastle and heading straight to Sydney because he's come from England. And he's going
They
straight.
don't stop over in Newcastle now.
I always thought it went from was it Heathrow to Singapore to Newcastle, then to Sydney. That's
Well,
how I
it should
thought that-
be.
That's how it should
how
be.
it should be.
Mitchell Pearce, Liam, he's coming back to Australia apparently, and he's going to go straight to the Chooks, the very team that said bugger off.
A fait accompli, perhaps.
Yeah.
They've finally gotten over their Cooper Cronk hangover. They said, "Oh, Cronk, we're sick of you. You won us 2 premierships. Finally, we don't like you anymore. Let's bring Pearcey back." Now, for a team that's going quite poorly, well known for having a bunch of superstars,
Of course.
getting towards the twilight of their career, paid big money. How do they want to fix this? By bringing a former superstar at the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
Likely not going to be big money, perhaps, though.
Potentially some money, but also not playing halfback,
Well,
coming in as this 14 role.
I believe as a salary cap competition, he legally has to get some money.
Some money.
He has to earn
money.
some form of income.
Yeah.
But maybe it's one of these, Robinson will bring him back. He'll take a $200,000 pay cut and get to do a couple of courses at Harvard every year or something.
Of course. Well, of course, if you remember back to the 90s, I think the Newcastle Knights were all earning some money, but also Dowling Real Estate was paying them a lot of money. I think that's how they worked it out.
It's funny. I remember in the mid-2000s, early to mid-2000s, a lot of Knights players conveniently worked for real estate companies.
How many houses did they sell?
How many realtors are there in this rugby league competition?
It's going to be a very interesting thing to see where Mitchell Pearce ends up and what position does he play, because he is a man in the later stages of his career, and he's...
I think he's due for the Ivy League. Again, Robinson has that connection. He's got the connection to Harvard. Mitchell Pearce always struck me as a very studious fella. Very a member of the intelligentsia. It only makes sense he'd go to Harvard at the
course.
end of his rugby league career.
Yeah. And that's where he ends up at the Roosters. Now, Liam, there was a bit of it wasn't push and shove, but it was a bit of push and shove. It was
a spray and tickle.
What was it called a fracas?
A fracas.
A fracas.
Brouhaha, perhaps.
Yeah.
But one of those modern NRL ones where everyone gets excited and grabs, but there's no actual punches. There's not a real fracas.
huddles around. Bit of pushing. There was angry eyes. Words said. Jerseys grabbed, and those
Water
little
bottles squirted,
short
and then
punches.
thrown,
Yeah.
jumper punches.
Jumper punches.
It was everything that's good about the modern rugby league day fracas.
But why this was interesting, Liam, between Jared Hargraves and Spencer
Lanier.
was that they're going to be sharing the lockers next year.
Yeah, which is interesting because we all recall, of course, Spencer Lanier,
Yeah.
who has played in 2 premiership winning teams and a grand final before that, have signed for the Roosters, referring to them as the pinnacle of rugby league, currently sitting in 12th while his Panthers are sitting in 1st. So maybe Spencer does have a bit of CTE.
Potentially.
And, that's what revved him up particularly for this fight, but it looked good. They were sending Lenu off and he was angry, and JWH was getting sent off at the same time. And
Always angry,
You know
yeah.
what it made me think about?
Yeah, what?
That great fight in the tunnel. Kevin Tarmady from New Zealand.
Of course, yeah.
And Greg Dowling, I think, in Australia. They both got sent off. Both went off at the same time. Got a big punch up in the tunnel.
Well,
I thought we were going to see punch up in the tunnel
The
again.
New Zealander won that fight.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, Tarmady was terrifying. guy.
absolutely
Very scary.
belted
player.
him.
Yeah. But this is the one, Nagy. Now this next piece of news, it raises my hackles.
Yeah.
It brings the ire of Liam McNeil to the forefront here.
Please
at the
do.
Joust.
Yeah. Bring
Shane Flanagan, Jousters,
Yeah.
has confirmed not 1 hour ago
it. Yeah.
when you're
Listening to
when you're
this,
listening,
yeah,
this
yeah.
will be about 36 hours ago. Anyway, we digress.
Yes,
The passage of time is not linear in the Joust. Flanagan, Shane,
Yeah.
has confirmed that he will be the Dragons coach starting in 2024. Now, Nagy,
big-
we like to think the rugby league has some integrity.
Yes.
We
Some.
like to think that, a little bit. Not a huge amount. We don't want to give the rugby league too much credit.
Well, there's a commission dedicated.
There is a commission dedicated to it. And as, close associates with a couple of members on that commission, Richard Martin and Jonathan Farnham.
Farnham, of course, yeah.
They've really gone ahead and shown a complete lack of integrity by, allowing a man to be registered as a head coach who has been banned for cheating.
A couple of times.
1, 2, 3, 4. Count them.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's how we do it.
Asada.
Yeah.
Stephen Denk.
Yeah.
Let's bring him in. Let's jack the boys up with peptides. Oh, no,
yeah.
Shane, you're gone. See
Yeah.
you later.
Yeah.
Secretly.
Oh,
boy. Don't hear at the Sharks. This is Shane, just quietly on my burner email.
Yeah.
Maybe run a couple more switch plays next week, but I'm banned, so don't tell them I messaged you.
Don't tell anyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then what happens 2016? Weren't Cronulla cheating the salary cap from 2013 to 2016? So that's 3 bans for cheating.
3 bans.
Once while he was banned for cheating,
Yeah.
and we're allowing this man to be the figurehead of an NRL rugby league club.
That face looks suspicious,
It's
doesn't
a
it?
punchable face. I don't like it.
He's already got the Saints colours on. It
Yeah.
just looks a little bit like he's.
I
Up
saw
to-
him at the
he's up to
grain
something.
store a few years ago, and he's just smug.
Yeah.
Just smug. Because you know
Smug.
what he's doing? He's going, I can cheat again. You know what's going to happen? I'll get a paid holiday for 2 seasons, and then I just go back and get another job.
Another job.
Yeah.
Very easy. Rugby league's the easiest game in the world if you're a coach. And
Very
you're,
short memories in rugby league, apparently.
and you're a cheater.
Yeah.
Liam,
So-
I love music. Do you love music?
I tolerate music.
Where can we watch music?
The Hamilton Station Hotel, where you can also watch rugby league, ideally at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
What do we got coming up at the Hamo Station this week? Now, this one of the bands here
Yeah.
holds a pretty special place in our heart, Nagy.
Yeah,
the Bam Bams.
The Bam Bam was just Bam Bam.
Yeah.
One larger Bam and then a shorter Bam. But Bam Bam, fantastic band getting around Newcastle at the moment. And they're going to be there on June 17th. Mm-hmm.
Why do we love Bam Bam?
Oh, it's their very own Daniel Flegg.
Good friend of the show, Daniel
Great-
Flegg of
great
Triple M fame. Of
He's
course.
also a Joust alumni, I believe.
Yeah, he was a Joust alumni. He was actually Jousters. You don't know this, but before we did the Joust, Nagy and I
Of course.
sat down with Dan Flegg,
Yeah.
our former buttons man, Elliot Beavis. We spent about 4 hours drinking and recording what was then called the Big Sports
Bruffin, yeah.
That was the precursor to the Joust.
Oh, God, it was awful.
It was illegible. What is audio illegibility?
Inaudible, would you say that?
Inaudible. Yeah,
Inaudible.
yeah. It was unlistenable.
It was
but
unlistenable.
anyway, good to see former Joust alumni doing very, very well. And of
Yeah,
course, Dan
yeah.
Flegg with his Bam Bams. Then you've got Zenith Paltrow, which is funny.
On Thursday, the June 15th, yeah. That's a very funny name. It sounds
idiot
like,
she is.
Sounds like a little bit like a trivia name.
yeah,
But head down to Hamilton Station any night of the week and listen to some great Australian music.
And if you're lucky, if they happen to do karaoke on Origin night, you
don't
might
know.
hear some very, very special Australian music.
It's just 2 idiots with 2 microphones, but instead of talking...
Yelling cold chisel lyrics at people.
It's basically like this show with a bit of music in the background. Just, we're going to take a halftime break. We'll see you after the second half to talk everything else Newcastle Knights. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, it was a game that I walked into, figuratively, watching, because I wasn't in Brisbane, that I thought, potentially, that we might potentially win, possibly. But, Liam...
That's a lot of potential,
I
and
know,
a lot
that's-
of possibilities, and a lot of perhapses, and a lot of fence sitting, and a lot of worry, and a lot of concern, Nagy.
I had them all going through my head,
and that going through my head as well, they were.
but we missed it by that much, Liam.
That much. Just by that much.
Oh, it was so close, 24-20, Liam. Now,
But what a game of rugby league. Now, my wife, Brittany, she's got massively into rugby league since she moved to our beautiful country, and rightly so. She'd be kicked out by immigration if she hadn't.
Yeah, of course.
And she and I, towards the end of the night, but towards the end of the game, we were standing on the furniture, we were hooting, we were hollering. I'm amazed the police weren't called. It was such an exciting game of rugby league. And one of those games, we got to the end, and that hurt more than being beaten by 30 points. But the beautiful, delicious rugby league kept me going. It satiated me that night. It was just such an incredible game of football.
It was a great game, Liam, and it was in front of a 35,000 plus. And plus is 814.
Yeah.
But it was...
We have the exact plus it was by.
the actual plus. There could have been a few people, that got in legally,
Yeah.
and good on them for doing it. But in front of a huge crowd, sometimes it would be, for many of those Knights players, the biggest crowd ever. that they had played in front of.
In their young lives.
In their young lives.
And in their old lives. Some of the older players probably never played in front of 30,000 plus.
Jack Etherington does?
Potentially.
He's still young.
He's still a boy. Just a boy.
But it was the showdown of the fullbacks. You've got Reece Walsh, who's been selected over Kalen Ponga, and then Kalen Ponga said, "Actually, I don't want to be selected at all, but I'm still quite good." And then they went off against each other. I really thought every time there's one of these showdowns, there's going to be shit.
This was not. This was an
shit.
absolutely stellar example of two young blokes just going hell for leather.
Yeah.
The media said, you
Yeah,
and you both very good.
yep.
You're going to try and tear strips off each other. Go
Yeah.
out and bloody do it. And they went out and they bloody did it.
If we look at this photo right here, he's trying to tear a strip off straight off his penis.
Which I think is not a good way to win a rugby league
Yeah.
game. Attacking genitals, like we've discussed scalping
Of course.
before in the game. We've discussed shivving. We've discussed shanking.
Shanking,
There's a lot of
shivving, yeah.
crimes you can get away with.
Of course,
on
yeah.
a rugby league field, but nothing to do with the penis.
Nothing to do with the penis.
You don't do the penis.
Leave the penis alone.
But the Walsh Ponga battle was just it left me again feeling satiated.
Yeah.
It left my hunger for excitement fulfilled.
It was also, it really highlights the remarkable masterstroke of Adam O'Brien, taking his very accomplished 5'8" in Kalen Ponga
Again.
and moving him to fullback in the classic reverse lock-here.
As we discussed previously on this show, Joust, it's a brave decision by O'Brien to move such an accomplished 5'8" back to fullback. And look, I'm not going to lie, I think it's paid off. A masterstroke.
Masterstroke.
See, Reece was trying to give him the masterstroke in that picture, I believe.
Master grab.
But I think the master grab, sorry. But I think, look, as much as I hate to say it, I think Reece Walsh came away with the points in that one-on-one.
Came away with the bits.
The bits, came away with the bits, came away with the points, came away with everything, came away with Kalen's dignity. But what a game. And to see the two at the end of the game, they made a beeline straight for each other. They had a good cuddle.
They did.
They gave each other a bit of a tickle and they said, boy, that was fun. Wasn't it just fun?
It was tough to see the Knights go from, they got back on top there. And as we see a Knight, they're back on top of a horse. Thank you very much.
It's a horse he's back on top of.
What did I say?
Is that what you were going to ask?
What did I say?
I don't know. You just sound like you were going to ask me what he's sitting atop.
Well, he's got back on top of the horse and very well could have been a Bronco.
Could have been a Brumby, as we discussed last week. Could have been a Brumby, could have been a Bronco. We don't know.
We managed to get back on top, but then unfortunately the Broncos being, which we all saw from this year, probably the informed side, they've won a lot of games. We always felt like potentially it was coming, and it did. But where did it fall down, Liam? I think it was in the goal scoring once again.
Oh, now Nagy. Well, maybe we'll discuss some headwear, and then the goal kicking will
Of
come
course.
up in the headwear. Yeah,
Of
so
course.
let's talk headwear first, Nagy. So we've got to put a hats off each game. We've got one hats off to give each, and mine is one that I thought would earn an Origin recall in Dane Gagai. He's a favourite of the show. We love Dane Gagai. He's a favourite amongst Knights fans for all the good service he's given us over the years. He wound the clock back with a truly remarkable performance. Defensively, he was a rock.
Yep.
Attackingly, if such a word exists.
It was a rock that's been flung.
And of course, we all know rocks when you fling them, according to Newton's second law.
Yeah.
You fling a rock,
Yeah.
it's just going to keep going.
Dangerous. Yeah.
It's just keeps on going. It's very dangerous. You can throw a rock right here. You'd hit someone in Saudi Arabia within a couple of days. It just keeps going around the earth.
I was concerned when last year we saw Dane Gagai start the season well and then sort of peter off a little bit, maybe that he was done.
I was calling for him to be the signing of the year in round 2 last year.
Yes, you were.
He wasn't.
Wasn't? But then now he's come back. He's got this resurgence.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is.
Love a good resurgence. There's nothing better. But who have you got for your hats off, Nagy?
Well, it was their very own Kalen Ponga.
This
Pong.
young, exciting fullback.
Young, exciting. In his brand new position in fullback,
Yeah.
Liam.
For a player to move to a new position and adjust immediately so quickly is really, again, it's quite a remarkable feat of coaching.
You could argue that it seems like he's been playing there for years.
You could argue that.
Yeah,
But
how
we
good
don't
he
know
was.
that.
We don't know that.
We can't say if he would have played this well for years if he was at fullback because we don't know.
He's in his infancy. Infancy.
We're really not good at words.
No,
we
no,
really
no,
struggle
no.
with our words, don't we?
But when there's a cap taken off, Liam, there must be one put back on when we think there's something that's fallen down. It hasn't gone so well. Who's your hats back on for this
My
weekend?
hat's back on Nagy is another conceptual one. We like throwing some interesting ones at you, Joust. My hat's back on is to the importance of situational awareness in rugby league.
course.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Joust. You probably did because it was quite a silly thing the Knights did.
And it was on television.
And it was on television, live television, in fact, and in a time slot that a lot of people watch. I don't know if you guys noticed this, Joust. A couple of seconds to go in the first half. Brisbane error.
Yeah.
Knights need to pack a scrum. We'll get 2 more plays in. They
Great.
didn't.
They just didn't.
They just stood around fiddling with their bits. They didn't do a thing.
Like Brown's
They didn't
cows.
even- like Brown's No, I remember the Browns cows era. They were way worse than that.
That was
It was terrible. But the situational awareness, boys. What's going on? You see the clock's winding down. You get an error. You pack the scrum.
Yeah.
Silliness.
That's what the good teams do.
That's what the good teams do, and that's why the Knights didn't do it. Who's your hats back on, Nate?
Well, for me, it was a player. Look, it was more of an employee, I guess.
club
He was
icon.
A club icon. He's been the kicking coach for many, many years now.
has.
In Mark Tukey.
Too many years, some would say, because we've never been good at goal kicking.
And we said, get rid of him. He's done. But apparently you can't fire someone like that anymore. Just from
you need
reports.
just cause.
You need letters of warning and things like that. So we dropped him to reserve grade. He did such a good job with Lockie Miller last week.
Gave him one more chance.
5 from 6. Says, come back up, Tukes. We've got a spare seat in the bus. Well, you might need a couple, but come on anyway.
Well, there's a spare seat on the bus coming up later in the news as well, Joust. But Tukes didn't fill the seat on the bus.
He
filled two.
He's let us
Very
down.
big man.
He's let us down once again. And that's cost us the game. 2 conversions out of 4 conversions when they kicked all 4 of theirs.
Surely that's just cause, finally.
That's 4 points, Slim.
4 points on the board.
And that's how much we lost by.
And if we look back, Nagy, there's 2.5 games the Knights could have won if we'd kicked better. The Manly draw, obviously. We
course,
could have
yeah.
netted a couple more. Then there was 2 other games that we decided to conveniently forget.
the Penrith Panthers and the North Queensland Cowboys.
Those 2 very important games that we missed due to goal kicking.
Up there in Town.
Town.
You love pastry.
Oh, I love pastry.
I love
Nagy.
pastry too.
It turns out we both love pastry here.
The
The Joust.
Segway show. And you've done a pie of the week, try of the week. Liam, what's your pie of the week for this try of the week?
Now, Nagy, usually in the interest of, keeping things fair, keeping things on the level when it comes to my pie reviews, I like to go for just the traditional pie, classic meat pie.
Of course.
Ground beef, gravy, pastry. But given the just amazingness of this week's try of the week, which was, of course, the Kalen Ponga try. He takes the ball to the left, a couple of passes wide of the ruck, slices by Adam Reynolds, puts it on a hard left foot step to get around Reece Walsh. It was a premium bit of NRL vision. I wanted a premium pie.
What'd you step up to, Liam?
Oh, I stepped up to a beautiful, big, chunky steak pie from Michelle's Cakes and Pies in Toronto. Big, tender chunks of beef, rich gravy, flaky pastry.
It does look flaky, doesn't it?
Oh, it was flaky.
Yeah. Was it a squeezy sauce? It looks like a squeezy sauce pattern.
Always a squeezy sauce. Now, that's another thing. Again, to keep things even and, somewhat objective in my pie reviews, I like to always include a squeezy sauce. Master Foods ketchup.
Yeah, of course.
Only Master Foods tomato sauce. I will not put barbecue sauce on a pie, and don't you tell me I should, Joust.
The pie face
I'll laugh
pies.
in your face.
The pie face pies.
I had one the other day that it tasted like it had been sitting in the warmer for 3 days.
They give you a tub of sauce.
They do. And you can't pour the sauce on. You have to dip it, but you can't dip a pie.
You're wasting sauce.
Luckily enough, every time I go to get a pie, I make sure I get 2 sauces. So in the glove box, I've got a couple of spare Master Food tomato sauces. I always like to keep a couple of spare tomato sauces and 1 spare McDonald's sweet and sour sauce.
Roll them up in your sleeve like a 1950s greaser.
Actually, the McDonald's sweet and sour sauce trick, guys, I would highly recommend it. We went on a camping trip, Brittany and I, and the kebabs we bought were not the highest quality meat in the world, but happened to have a sweet and sour sauce packet in the glove box, and boy, did it turn it into a great meal.
Turn that shit gourmet.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joust is always over-purchased when it comes to condiments. I know in this economy, it's hard to justify the extra 30 to 50 cents. In this economy, yes. But sometimes it's well worth the investment.
Liam, how do we bounce back? Well, where was the pie from? Sorry.
Miranda's Cakes and Pies. They're on the
Pies.
Boulevard in Toronto. Great pie shop. Very, very good. There's another one on there, New Inns pie shop. I might try them next week.
Can we go back to that just quickly? The shot again. They got squared there in red and then again in blue. Can someone tell me what's going on?
They're
there?
just proud Knights fans.
Yeah, that's true.
They just love the Knights so much that they've themed their entire company's company's colour palette around their favourite.
I wasn't sure if it was
team.
2 competing businesses. Maybe they're separated by brothers that are feuding or something like that.
Well, actually, that's how Adidas and Puma came to be.
Yeah,
There's
Puma,
a small
of course,
town in Germany somewhere, and there was 2 brothers, Rudolf Dassler and Adi Dassler, and they started competing shoe businesses, and they've split that town clean in twain.
Yeah.
Half the town wears Puma, half the town wears Adidas.
Yeah.
Adidas, obviously, Adi Dassler. Puma by Rudolf Dassler.
Of course.
Split the town clean in half.
It's like if you go to Tasmania, the whole north of the country drinks Bogues, the whole south of the country drinks that other one.
Cascade.
Yeah. And then if you're driving from the north to the south, you literally see the signage on the pub change where everything's split. They've got the whole other rivalry down there. We think it's going to be New South Wales, Queensland, but really it's just Tasmania with all their 12 people and 6 of them on one side and 5 of them on the other.
And now the thing that struck me about Tasmania is you walk into the pub and you can hear music. You can hear discussion. Of
course,
you can hear discourse. You don't hear pokies. They've got no pokies.
No pokies. No.
Odd.
No.
I don't know how to finish the night.
And their keno's on a different system too. I think their jackpot's only about $112,000, which is a lot of money in that economy.
In that economy. It's a different economy down there.
How do we win next week, Liam, to bring ourselves back? Tickle the feet of the 8.
We're going to tickle the feet of the 8 by just being better than a bad team, because let's face it, the Roosters have been a bad team this year. They've not been a good team.
No, far
They
from.
have all the stars that would indicate them being a good team. They're paying the salary cap of a good team,
Yeah.
but they're not playing the rugby league football of good team, Nagy.
Now, there's some good players here, but if we go back to the team list here, we've got Joseph Manu.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Great chef, of course. Good French man.
Good French man. Tupou, who's, reaching towards the end of his career. He's been shot by a sniper.
Still has always been an elite competitor, though.
And we got the Queensland Origin representative, Corey Allen.
Yeah, Origin legend from that worst ever Queensland team that won. Wasn't that a shame?
Never to be seen of again.
Until now.
Billy Smith.
The man famously stood over by Sam Burgess.
And then Junior
Pauga? Junior Pauga, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then, of course, you got Luke Keary, the one international representative there, played famously for Ireland at the World Cup. And then we've got the Sandon Castle.
Big change for us, Liam. Big change for us.
Yes, which one?
We've got Greg Mazur.
Oh, now what's happened to Greg? We were discussing public transport options earlier in this show, and what's Greg gone and done?
He's missed the bus.
He's missed the bus.
Quite literally and figuratively, because he's not named in this team.
Now, that is the oldest story in the rugby league book. Some player has been dropped for disciplinary issues.
Yeah.
Every time. It's just that they've missed the bus.
bus.
I believe Bradman Best missed the bus this year, or was it last
season? Year, as well as Anaratwala. They both
both missed the bus
which
together.
is the very man who has replaced Greg Mazur.
Oh, a bit of serendipity, perhaps.
It might be a curse that they hand on to the next player.
So you reckon Anari's going to miss the bus next week?
I guess it has to be.
But that's always the thing. When you come out with a news story and you say an NRL player is having disciplinary issues, it's either, he's missed the bus or he's beaten 3 people to death at a Coogee Beach hotel on a training night.
One of the two.
There's never in between. Never in between.
Peter Parr's come out quite strongly and said missing the bus means that you miss out on selection.
Well, he owns Sid Fogg's and they pay by the seat.
Well,
so if there's an empty seat on that bus, that's money that's not going into Peter Parr's pocket.
$36.50. He's checking his pockets.
And it's a long trip too.
Yeah.
It's a long trip back from Brisbane.
Can I make
a hell of a bus trip?
Can I make a suggestion to big old Peter Parr? It keeps dropping these players due to the bus being missed. Put the bus on 20 minutes later.
Stop telling the boys you got to be at the 322. It comes an hour early. It comes 45 minutes late. I don't blame Greg. He was just said, but get on the 322. You'll be at the stadium in no time.
Yeah.
And he's missed it.
Can I just say, what's the worst? I'm a little bit confused. Do they miss the bus? The bus leaves and they're going, where did you go? They're on the phone? No, the bus
does the bus wait?
The bus has to wait for them. The bus, they haven't missed it. Or the opposite is that they have missed the bus. Find your own way home. No one loses.
Just stick the thumb out. Who's not going to pick up Greg Mazur? That's it. If I'm pinging down the freeway and I see Greg on the side of the road, I'm pulling over. I'm saying, Greg, buddy, did you miss the bus again?
Yeah, hop on. I've got the flatbed.
I'll break the land speed record and get you home before the bus.
Before the bus.
You get a bonus. You get paid a bonus.
There's an idea. If you miss the bus, but you can get home before the bus, you're fine. That will show some absolute problem-solving ingenuity,
yes.
which is the kind of stuff we need in those clinch moments of the game.
But in all seriousness, Greg is a big loss.
Yeah.
He's been immense this year with his yardage work, coming out doing the hard runs, being the bodybuilder, being the strongest man on the field, scoring tries that no one else would score. He's been fantastic. So he's a big loss. But also the other big loss, Nagy, we can't leave this one behind.
Yeah.
Frizz. He's gone again. For good reason. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong, Jousters. He's left with our blessing. to go play for the New South Wales Blues.
Of course.
But who's coming in his place now? This was unexpected. I didn't see this coming, Nagy.
Dylan Lucas.
No, I saw that bit. The other member
Lockie
of the second
Fitzgibbon.
row, yeah.
Lockie Fitzgibbon coming back from a calf injury. We welcome him back, and also Dylan Lucas holding his spot from last week.
Thought he was pretty good, Dylan Lucas.
I thought he was pretty good too. I mean,
He's a bigger man than I thought. He looks very skinny in his Knights official picture. He's a lot more well built, a lot more robust.
He's been doing some great things for New South Wales Cup, I should say, the Knock-On Effect Cup. Terrible name, and it's good to see him back in the side for a second week in a row. Even if it does mean that the Frizz is missing out, because I would have loved to let the Frizz go on these Roosters.
Yes,
these.
He would have gone to town.
Strong on the edge.
Strong on the edge. Tyson Frizzell.
The Roosters are struggling for form, Liam. They're missing a few players, but of course they're sitting 12th, one rung above us, as well as they've lost 4 of their last 6.
What an odd ladder it is this year, Nagy.
Yeah,
It's a strange ladder.
The Knights' form going loss, win, loss, win, loss.
So the science.
The
now,
science,
you know,
yeah.
Joust, is we're big fans of science here.
Huge.
The science and the mathematics
Yeah.
and the formulas all indicate that the Knights will win.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, Jousters. The rules of probability apply to rugby league.
Put the house on it. Put the house on it.
It's easy for you to say as a homeowner.
Yeah.
I've no house to put on the game, Nagy.
Well, I won't have a house next week, possibly. Liam, very, very empty sack of yours.
Yes.
One question tickling away there. What is
From a
it?
dear friend of the show, Gavin Morton, Mungo Brush's finest. Gavin asks, is former Knights legend Jack Cogger the answer for the Blues at number 7? Gavin, I say yes. Controversial opinions here at the Joust.
Now, Jack Cogger was often referred to as the sorry, you went to the school of unremarkable boys.
School for unremarkable boys.
He still looks young. I swear he played for the Knights back in about 2012.
He's a very old boy. He's a very old-looking boy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
one of those, you either look 40 from the day you're born or you look 25 till the day you die.
Yeah, he's the other one. He's the Steve Martin. Yeah. Well, he looked 40 and then he stayed looking 40 for about 35 years.
Yeah, he had an odd aging process, Steve Martin.
you
He went white at 23.
You got to go solidly grey.
But anyway, Gavin Morton, we digress. Yes, we think Freddie was wrong to pick Mitch Moses. Hashtag Jack Cogger for New South Wales number 7.
Cogger?
How long does a hashtag have to be?
I don't know.
Start a letter writing campaign. If you've got Brad Fittler's home address, send it to us. We will bombard him with letters saying we want Cog.
But if you don't have Brad Fittler's address, but you have the Joust's many addresses over these platforms.
Karen keeps an eye on our PO
Karen.
box. She checks it every week.
That's YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, and Facebook.
And PO Box 7,
All
Mayfield East.
Those social pipes. Please keep watching us and like and subscribe. Thank you very much, Justice, for joining us for another week. We'll see you next week, hopefully celebrating. I nearly stumbled on celebrating yet another Newcastle Knights victory in the pattern that has been set out for us by the Lord above.
Yes, by the laws of nature, Newton's laws, God's first law. It's in the 10 Commandments, I think.
Yahweh mentioned it. Thank you very much, Jousters. We'll see you again next week.